One of the most controversial topics in America right now is the housing market. One of the most important features of the American dream is homeownership. Homeownership has been the main wealth creation vehicle for the majority of Americans. The bottom line is that people in America work hard and they want to be able to buy a house because it gives them satisfaction, security, wealth, and something to pass down. There's no American dream without homeownership. And if there's no American dream, people lose hope. The housing market is so out of whack that a record number of Americans have given up on buying a home. In this video, we will discuss how this current housing crisis can be fixed right now. If you want a single answer as to why the heck housing has stayed so high despite high interest rates, record unaffordability, a lopsided economy, and so much pessimism, it's low inventory. Inventory is at all-time lows, and this is especially bad when you take into account that the US population has steadily increased over the past 50 years. Just like so many things, I blame the Fed. The 0% interest rate policy of the Fed during COVID has resulted in a majority of homeowners having an interest rate of 4% or lower. 62% of homeowners have a rate below 4% per Redfin, and 23.5% have a rate below 3%. Over 90% of homeowners have a fixed rate loan. When you have a 3% rate fixed for 30 years, there's a big disincentive to move when current rates are much higher. These homeowners have golden handcuffs and they're not selling, and it's stalled the entire market. There is a way to solve this crisis and bring things back into balance. And actually, I'm here to tell you there are ways that we can fix this right now. The solution is we need more homes on the market, and we need more of those homes to be sold to first-time homeowners. There are over 20 million single-family homes that are rental units. Single-family homes have become one of the hottest real estate investment classes, with many institutional investors solely focusing on single-family unit. That's really bad for first-time home buyers. While institutional investors are buying up a bigger portion of single-family homes, the main investors are still mom-and-pop investors. The first solution is that the government can lower capital gains tax on sellers of investment properties. So many investment homeowners are trapped with their current investment homes because if they sold them, they would incur a significant tax bill. Here in California, if I were to sell my investment property, I would pay 20% federal cap gains tax on the profits and up to 13% more in California taxes. Also, I'd have to pay back the depreciation I wrote off. The bottom line is, if you're a seller of an investment home, you can end up with a huge tax bill. The government can lower the federal cap gains rate to 5%, or 10% if an investment seller sold their home to a first-time home buyer, or the government can let investment sellers cash out up to $250K of profits without paying any taxes. That's what the current rule is for primary residences. If you sell your current primary residence, you can cash out up to $250K with no taxes for a single person or $500K for a married couple. If we allowed this for investors on the condition that they sold their home to first-time home buyers, it would create a lot of inventory. I know some of you are thinking that's way too generous to sellers, many of whom are already wealthy. Just wait. I have other solutions. There are currently about 15 million housing units that are sitting empty across the US. That's just astonishing. That's almost 10% of the housing stock. There are legitimate reasons why some homes are empty, from those being renovated to those sitting on the market waiting to be rented. But a good portion of these vacant homes are also vacation homes or uninhabitable homes. One way to get inventory up is to either incentivize second homeowners to sell through tax incentives that we talked about above, or to penalize vacation homeowners by increasing taxes on them. Also, the government can give sellers an extra tax break if they sell their vacation home to a first-time home buyer. Also, for the uninhabitable homes, the government can give first-time homeowners rehab loans to buy these homes and fix them up. FHA currently has a rehab loan, but it's very difficult to navigate. I've done one of these and it was very difficult. The last thing I will say that's very important is we have to disincentivize big and institutional investors. There are currently over 20 million units of single-family housing that are investor-owned. A lot of these homes are simply owned by mom-and-pop investors, but a good portion are owned by big investors or institutionals, and their share is expected to rise dramatically in the decades ahead. We can get more supply on the market by taking away some of the tax incentives from any big investor that owns more than 100 units of housing. Or we can institute new laws that institutional investors like BlackRock will be subject to rent control for all of their units. This would discourage these big players from owning lots of housing supply. And you don't have to feel sorry for these big investors, as they've made billions already and were able to borrow money at rates that none of us individual investors would ever have access to. Before I close out, I'll throw out a couple other ideas. A lot of supply is locked up because a lot of would-be sellers don't want to downsize or upsize because their existing rates are so low. The government can institute a program where sellers can carry their loan to a new place they buy if they meet certain criteria. This would unlock a lot of inventory as well. Another thing the government can do is give all first-time home buyers a 3% mortgage rate. Of course, this would have to be means tested so that we're not giving away 3% rates to millionaires. The bottom line is that the government has a lot of power to direct the market and increase supply and make sure the supply is going to the right people. All these programs can be mean tested where we are helping people who really need it. Overall, we have over 20 million units of investor-owned single-family housing. We also have 15 million vacant units of housing. With the right policy, we can get more of these units on the market quickly. The government has the power to influence change both in the short run and the long run. If we incorporate all these things, we could add inventory to the market right away. Of course, for the long run, we need to focus on construction as well. The key is that we want to encourage home ownership so that the American dream stays alive. Doing so is good for everyone. You may be asking how the hell we can pay for all this. I'm here to say that a healthy housing market has the biggest impact on the economy, from all the people involved in the transaction to all the supporting industries of housing. The government already wastes so much money on so many things, from conflicts to wasteful programs. This would be money well spent. Another criticism that I often get is that we want free markets to flourish and we want governments out of the way. At the end of the day, I'm a capitalist and I love the free market, but I also want to correct a rigged system. If institutional investors have access to rates that none of us individual investors have access to, that's a sign the game is rigged. Overall, what we're trying to accomplish here is an unrigging of the system. More Americans owning homes is good for everyone. All it takes is the right leadership and policy, which sadly is asking a lot. If you enjoyed my video, please push the like button and subscribe, and I wish you a great day.